There is something you do every single day without thinking about it. Something so automatic, so deeply wired into your body that you stopped noticing it somewhere around the age of 2 or 3. You do it when you walk into a room full of strangers. You do it when you're heading to a meeting you're dreading. You do it when you're moving through a grocery store on a quiet Tuesday afternoon with nothing particular on your mind. You do it in the dark, in the rain, in moments of joy and moments of grief. You walk, and you have been walking your entire life without ever once stopping to consider what that walk is quietly saying about you. But here's the thing psychologists have been studying for decades now. Your walk is not neutral. It is not simply a mechanical act of putting one foot in front of the other. It is a living, breathing expression of your inner world. The way your arms swing or don't swing. The pace you keep when no one is watching. Whether you look down at the ground or straight ahead into the distance. Whether your steps are heavy or light, rushed or measured, wide or narrow. All of it is data. All of it is language. A language your body has been speaking fluently your whole life, even when your mouth was silent. And what makes this so fascinating, and perhaps a little unsettling, is that you didn't choose this language. You didn't sit down one day and decide how you were going to carry yourself through the world. Your walk developed the way most deeply personal things develop, quietly over time, shaped by your experiences, your nervous system, your emotional history, your relationship with safety and confidence and connection. It was shaped by the moments that taught you to take up space or shrink away from it, by the years that gave you something to stride toward or something to run from, by the accumulated weight of everything you've ever felt and survived and carried. This is what researchers in the field of psychology and body language have been trying to understand for a long time. That the body doesn't lie the way the face can lie. The face is social. We've learned to manage it, to arrange our expressions for the benefit of others, to smile when we don't feel like smiling, to appear calm when we're anything but. But the walk is harder to perform. It's harder to consciously control because it happens below the level of deliberate thought, and that's precisely why it reveals so much. Today, we're going to explore 5 things your walk might be quietly exposing about your personality, your emotional world, and the inner landscape you carry with you wherever you go. Not to judge, not to reduce you to a type or a category or a simple label, but to offer you something that might feel like recognition, a mirror, a moment of seeing yourself from the outside, perhaps for the first time, in a way that helps you understand yourself a little more deeply. Because understanding is where everything begins. Let's start with something you've probably never consciously thought about: your pace. How fast or slow you move when you're walking from one place to another. Most of us assume our pace is just a practical matter. We walk fast when we're late. We walk slowly when we have nowhere to be. Simple cause and effect. But research tells a more complicated and more interesting story. Psychologists have found that people who consistently walk at a fast pace, not just when they're running late, but as their default, habitual speed, tend to share a cluster of personality traits that go much deeper than simply being busy. Fast walkers are often described by researchers as more conscientious, more goal-oriented, and more emotionally resilient. Studies from the British Journal of Sports Medicine found that people who walk faster tend to report higher levels of psychological well-being. But here's what's more revealing than that statistic. The fast pace is often less about where someone is going and more about who they are internally. Fast walkers tend to be people who live primarily in the future. Their minds are already at the destination before their bodies have crossed the room. They are planners, thinkers, people who are always a few steps ahead in their mental landscape. And this orientation toward the future, toward what comes next, what needs to be done, what could be improved, is both a strength and a quiet burden. Because people who live perpetually in the future sometimes struggle to be fully present in the moment they're actually in. They arrive somewhere and they're already thinking about the next place. They finish one task and their mind has already moved to the next 3. There's a restlessness in the fast walk that isn't always about urgency. Sometimes it's about anxiety, about the sense that slowing down means falling behind, about the deeply held belief, often unconscious, often learned in childhood, that productivity is the price of worthiness, that you have to keep moving to justify your existence. That stillness is somehow dangerous or indulgent. If you recognize yourself in this, if you've always been someone who walks fast, who feels vaguely uncomfortable when you're forced to slow down, it's worth asking yourself gently where that urgency comes from. Not to criticize it, not to tell yourself you should be different, but simply to understand it. Because sometimes the pace we keep on the outside is a perfect reflection of the pace we keep on the inside. If this kind of self-exploration resonates with you, please take a second to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss what we explore next. And then there are the slow walkers, the people who move through the world at their own unhurried rhythm, unbothered by the rushing around them. And here is where things get psychologically interesting, because our culture tends to pathologize slowness. We associate it with laziness, with disengagement, with not caring enough. But research suggests something quite different. People who walk slowly as a default tend to be more present-focused. They are often more attuned to their surroundings, more observant, more likely to notice the details that faster walkers miss entirely. They tend to score higher on measures of mindfulness and sensory awareness. They are often deeply internal processors, people who are taking in more information than they appear to be, turning it over slowly and thoroughly before responding. The slow walker is often someone who has learned, either by temperament or by experience, that presence matters more than pace, that the journey is not just a means to an end, but there is also another dimension to the slow walk that deserves acknowledgement. Sometimes slowness is not a personality trait. Sometimes it is the physical expression of emotional weight, of depression, of exhaustion, of the kind of heaviness that settles into the body when the inner world has become too much to carry lightly. Researchers studying body language and mood have found that depressive states often manifest in slower, heavier movement, in a gait that seems to be moving against resistance, as if the air itself has become thick. And if you have ever walked through a period of deep grief or profound sadness, you know exactly what this feels like. The body becomes heavy, the steps become small. The world feels like it requires more effort than it should. This is not weakness. This is not failure. This is the body doing what it always does, expressing what the mind and heart are experiencing. And recognizing that connection, understanding that your walk changes when your inner world changes, is itself a form of self-knowledge that many people spend years without accessing. I'm curious about something. Think back to a time in your life when your walk noticeably changed, when something in how you moved through the world shifted. What was happening inside you during that period? Drop it in the comments if you feel comfortable sharing, because I think you'll find you're not alone in that experience. Now let's talk about something even more subtle: the direction of your gaze when you walk. Where your eyes go when you're moving through the world is one of the most quietly revealing things about your psychological orientation, your relationship with your environment, and your sense of self. There are people who walk with their gaze fixed downward, eyes on the ground, watching each step, rarely looking up. And there are people who walk with their gaze forward or upward, eyes on the horizon, taking in the space ahead. And there are people who do something in between, who scan, who look around, who seem to be drinking in everything in their peripheral field. Each of these patterns tells a story. People who habitually look down when they walk are often deep internal processors. They are frequently in their own heads, working through thoughts, feelings, and problems that exist in their inner world rather than the external one. The downward gaze is often a sign of introversion, not in the pop psychology sense of simply being shy, but in the deeper sense of having a rich, active inner life that demands a significant portion of your attention. The world inside is as real and as demanding as the world outside, and sometimes more so. But the downward gaze can also be a learned response to feeling unsafe, to having grown up in environments where making eye contact felt dangerous, where drawing attention to yourself had consequences, where making yourself small and invisible was a strategy for survival. If you walk with your eyes down, and you've always walked that way, it might be worth sitting with the question of whether that posture was originally a choice or a protection, because sometimes the habits our bodies carry are old answers to problems that no longer exist. They were once necessary, they served a purpose, and they can be gently released when we finally understand where they came from. People who walk with their gaze forward, eyes on the horizon, tend to project a different psychological orientation. They are often more externally focused, more socially engaged, more comfortable with being seen. Research on confidence and body language consistently finds that an upward gaze is associated with higher self-esteem and a greater sense of agency. The person who looks ahead is, in a very physical sense, claiming their place in the space they're moving through. They are saying, without words, "I belong here. I have a right to this space." And this is where it becomes important to say something clearly. The way you walk is not a fixed destiny. It is not a sentence. The research on gait and personality is not telling you that you are permanently and irreversibly whatever your walk suggests. It is telling you that there is a connection, a living, dynamic connection between how you move and how you feel. And that connection flows both ways, which means that changing how you move, even slightly, even consciously, can actually shift how you feel. Psychologists call this embodied cognition. The idea that the body and the mind are not separate systems, but deeply interconnected ones. That posture affects mood. That movement affects thought. That the way you carry yourself shapes the way you experience yourself. Let's go deeper now. Let's talk about the way you use your arms when you walk, because this is one of the most under-examined and psychologically revealing aspects of gait, and most people have never once thought about it. When we walk, our arms naturally swing in opposition to our legs. Left arm forward when the right leg steps forward, and vice versa. This cross-body movement is actually a neurological expression of bilateral brain integration, of both hemispheres of the brain working together in coordinated rhythm. And research has found that the degree to which someone swings their arms when they walk is associated with their degree of emotional openness and expressiveness. People who walk with generous, relaxed arm swings tend to be more emotionally expressive, more comfortable with taking up physical and social space, and more likely to engage openly with the people and environments around them. There's a quality of ease in the full arm swing, a quality of being at home in your own body, of not needing to hold yourself in or hold yourself back. People who walk with very minimal arm movement, arms held close to the body, stiff or constrained, often show a different pattern. This can reflect a tendency toward emotional containment, toward keeping feelings close, toward a sense that expressing yourself freely might be risky, might invite judgment, might take up too much space. And again, this is not a flaw. This is not something to be ashamed of. It is often a deeply understandable response to a world that has not always been safe or welcoming for your full expression. There's a concept in psychology called body armor, a term originally developed by Wilhelm Reich and later expanded by others in the somatic psychology tradition. The idea is that psychological defenses don't just live in the mind, they live in the body, in the tension we hold in our shoulders, in the tightness in our chest, in the way we constrain our movement to keep ourselves safe. And the way we walk, the way we hold our arms, the way we carry our bodies through space can be a physical map of these defenses, a map of where we learned to protect ourselves, a map of what we learned to hide. Understanding this is not about fixing yourself. It is about recognizing yourself, about seeing the ways your body has been trying to keep you safe and offering it, and yourself, some compassion for the intelligence of that protection. What's something you've noticed about the way you carry yourself that you've never quite had the language for until now? Leave it in the comments. These conversations have a way of becoming something meaningful for everyone reading them. Now let's talk about posture. The way you hold your spine, your shoulders, your chest when you walk. Because posture is perhaps the most studied and most psychologically significant aspect of gait. And the research here is both fascinating and deeply validating. Amy Cuddy's research on power posing, though it has been debated and refined over the years, opened a door to a much larger body of work on the relationship between posture and psychological state. And what the broader research consistently shows is this: the way we hold our bodies is not just a reflection of how we feel. It actively shapes how we feel. Upright, expansive posture is associated with higher cortisol regulation, greater feelings of confidence, and increased willingness to take risks. Collapsed, contracted posture is associated with higher stress responses, lower self-esteem, and a greater tendency toward rumination and self-criticism. People who walk with their shoulders back and their chest open tend to report feeling more capable, more grounded, and more comfortable in social situations. And this is not just about performance or impression management. It is about the actual neurochemical state that open posture creates in the body. The body and the brain are in constant conversation, and when you stand tall, when you take up space, when you move with openness rather than contraction, you are sending a signal to your nervous system that says, "It is safe here. I am okay. I can handle this." People who walk with rounded shoulders, with a slight forward hunch, with a posture that seems to be folding inward, often carry a different story. Sometimes that story is about chronic stress, about years of holding tension in the upper body because the world has felt like too much for too long. Sometimes it is about shame, about the learned belief that you are too much or not enough, or that your presence is an imposition. Sometimes it is simply about exhaustion, about the physical weight of carrying everything you carry. And here is something that deserves to be said with great care and great compassion. If you recognize yourself in this description, if you've always been someone who walks a little hunched, a little folded, a little as if you're trying to take up less space than you're entitled to, please hear this. That posture is not who you are. It is what you learned. It is a response to something that happened, to messages you received, to environments that shaped you. And it can change. Not through force or shame or the demand that you perform confidence you don't yet feel, but through understanding, through gentleness, through the slow, patient work of learning that you are allowed to take up space, that your presence is not an imposition, that you are entitled to move through the world with your full self intact. There is a fifth dimension of the walk that we haven't talked about yet, and it might be the most intimate one. The rhythm of your steps, the particular cadence, the specific music of the way you move. Because every person's walk has a rhythm, and that rhythm is as individual as a fingerprint. And psychologists who study gait have found that this rhythm is deeply connected to something fundamental about how you process the world emotionally. People who walk with a very consistent, steady rhythm, step after step, in a regular, predictable cadence, tend to be people who find comfort in structure and consistency. They are often reliable, methodical, and deeply trustworthy. They are the people others count on, the people who show up, who follow through, who keep their word. There is something in the steady rhythm of their walk that reflects the steady rhythm of their inner life, a preference for the known over the unknown, for the planned over the spontaneous, for the solid ground of routine over the uncertainty of improvisation. And this is a profound strength. In a world that is increasingly chaotic and unpredictable, the person who can maintain their rhythm, who can keep their cadence steady even when the ground shifts beneath them, is someone with remarkable psychological stability. But there is also, sometimes, a shadow side to this. The person who needs the rhythm to stay steady can sometimes struggle when life inevitably disrupts it, when the structure breaks down, when the unexpected arrives and the familiar cadence is no longer available. And in those moments, the very thing that has been a source of strength can become a source of anxiety. People who walk with a more varied, irregular rhythm, speeding up and slowing down, taking big steps and small ones, pausing and surging, tend to show a different psychological profile. They are often more emotionally expressive, more responsive to their environment, more comfortable with ambiguity and change. They tend to be creative, spontaneous, and deeply alive to the moment they're in. But they can also struggle with consistency, with follow-through, with the kind of sustained, steady effort that requires suppressing the impulse to respond to every new stimulus that captures their attention. Neither of these is better. Neither is worse. They are simply different ways of moving through the world, different ways of being in the world, each with its gifts and its challenges. And recognizing which one resonates with you is not about labeling yourself. It is about understanding yourself, about seeing the particular shape of your inner life reflected in the particular shape of your movement. Let's take a moment now to hold all of this together. Because what we've been talking about, pace, gaze, arm movement, posture, rhythm, these are not 5 separate things. They are 5 dimensions of a single, unified expression. The expression of you, the expression of your history, your nervous system, your emotional world, your relationship with safety and confidence and connection. And they are all happening simultaneously, all the time, in every step you take. And here's what makes this understanding so powerful, so genuinely transformative, if you let it be. Most of us move through our lives with very little awareness of the body we're moving through life in. We live primarily from the neck up. We think, we plan, we analyze, we worry. We have elaborate inner lives that are almost entirely cognitive. And the body, this extraordinary, intelligent, feeling body, gets left behind, gets reduced to a vehicle, gets ignored until it breaks down or gets sick or demands attention through pain. But the body has been communicating all along, not in words, not in the language of thought, but in the language of movement, in the language of posture and pace and gaze and rhythm. And when we begin to listen to that language, when we begin to pay attention to the way we move and what it might be telling us about the way we feel, something shifts, something opens up, a new channel of self-knowledge becomes available. A new way of understanding yourself from the inside out. This is what somatic psychology, the branch of psychology that focuses on the body's role in psychological experience, has been trying to tell us for decades. That healing doesn't happen only in the mind. That understanding doesn't live only in insight and analysis. That sometimes the most profound moments of self-recognition come not from thinking harder, but from feeling more. From dropping down out of the head and into the body and asking, what is this body carrying? What is this body expressing? What is this body trying to tell me about who I am and what I need? There's a particular kind of person who might be watching this video right now. Someone who has always felt a little disconnected from their own body. Someone who moves through the world on autopilot, not quite inhabiting the physical self they're living in. Someone who has been so focused on managing their inner world through thought and strategy and control that the body has become almost a stranger. And if that's you, if you recognize yourself in that description, this is your invitation. Not to fix anything, not to immediately change how you walk or how you hold yourself or how you move, but simply to notice, to begin paying attention, to bring a gentle, curious awareness to the way you move through the world and what it might be saying about the world you carry inside you. Because here's the truth that sits at the heart of all of this. You are not separate from your body. You are not a mind trapped in a body. You are a whole, integrated being, and every part of you, every thought, every feeling, every memory, every wound, every joy is expressed somewhere in the way you inhabit your physical self. The way you walk is one expression of that wholeness, one window into the complexity and richness and depth of who you are. And the fact that you're here, watching this, thinking about this, curious about what your walk might reveal, that itself says something about you. It says that you are someone who wants to understand yourself. Someone who is willing to look honestly and curiously at the patterns of your own life. Someone who believes, even if only a little, that understanding is the beginning of something. That self-knowledge is not just an intellectual exercise, but a path towards something more free, more whole, more genuinely yourself. That belief is not naive. That belief is exactly right. Research in the field of positive psychology consistently shows that self-awareness, the capacity to see yourself clearly and compassionately, is one of the strongest predictors of psychological well-being, resilience, and meaningful connection with others. Not because self-awareness makes life easier. It doesn't, not necessarily. But because self-awareness makes life more navigable. It gives you a map. It gives you language. It gives you the ability to understand your own reactions, to recognize your own patterns, to make choices rather than simply responding automatically to the forces inside you. And that's what all of this, the pace, the gaze, the arms, the posture, the rhythm, is really about. Not a party trick, not a way to read strangers or impress people at dinner, but a genuine, grounded practice of paying attention to yourself, of listening to the language your body has been speaking all along, of giving yourself the gift of being known, even if only by yourself, especially by yourself, because so many of us move through our entire lives never quite feeling known, not by the people around us, and not even by ourselves. We perform versions of ourselves. We manage impressions. We say what seems right and do what seems expected, and walk through the world in whatever way we learn to walk, never stopping to ask whether that walk is still serving us, whether it's still true to who we are now, as opposed to who we had to be then. And the answer to that question, whether your walk is still serving you, is not something anyone else can tell you. It's something you have to feel your way toward, slowly, gently, with patience and curiosity, and the willingness to be surprised by what you find. But the fact that you're asking the question, the fact that you're paying attention, that's already something. That's already more than most people ever do. If someone in your life is quietly struggling to feel at home in themselves, consider sharing this with them. Sometimes the most generous thing we can do for another person is hand them a language for something they've been carrying without words. This might be exactly that for someone you know. So here is what I want to leave you with. The next time you're walking somewhere, anywhere, a parking lot, a hallway, a sidewalk on a quiet morning, try this. Just for a moment, bring your attention to the way you're moving. Notice your pace. Notice where your eyes are going. Notice whether your arms are swinging freely or held close. Notice whether your shoulders are back or rounded. Notice the rhythm of your steps. Don't judge any of it. Don't try to change it. Just notice it. Just be curious about it. Just let yourself be interested in this body that has been carrying you through your entire life. And then, if you want to, ask yourself gently, what is this walk expressing right now? What am I carrying today? What does my body know about how I'm feeling that my mind hasn't quite caught up to yet? Because the body always knows. It has always known. It has been keeping track of everything, every stress and every joy and every fear and every moment of grace in its own quiet, eloquent language. And learning to read that language, learning to hear what your body is saying, is one of the most profound acts of self-knowledge available to you. You have been walking your entire life. And your walk has been speaking your entire life. Today, perhaps for the first time, you began to listen. That is not a small thing. That is not a trivial thing. That is the beginning of something that matters. If this video helped you feel a little more seen, a little more curious about the extraordinary complexity of who you are, I hope you'll stay. There is so much more to explore together. Subscribe so you don't miss what comes next. And if you feel safe, share something in the comments. Share what you noticed. Share what resonated. Share what surprised you. Because someone out there is watching too, and your words might give them exactly the language they've been looking for. Thank you for watching. Thank you for paying attention. And thank you for being willing to know yourself a little more deeply today. And if this exploration of the body's hidden language resonated with you, there is something deeply connected waiting in the video about the psychology of people who are always thinking too much. It goes further into why some minds never fully rest, what that relentless inner noise is actually protecting, and what it means for the way you move through the world.